If awards are supposed to recognize great creativity, why do so many people in advertising no longer trust them? Why are some of the industry's most celebrated campaigns being accused of being scam ads? And why did Cannes Lions need to create an integrity council? This isn't a story just about awards. It's a story about how an entire industry lost its way and how it might finally be finding it again. Let's find out. Once upon a time, winning awards meant something. They stood for courage, imagination, and madness. And they were meant for the few who dared to make something beautiful. Today, those same trophies feel lighter. Not because they lost their shine, but because somewhere along the way, we started polishing the metal and forgot the mirror. Because creativity still drives almost half of advertising effectiveness. So, if awards no longer tell us what great advertising looks like, what does? Back in the 1950s, we had a handful of awards like Clio's, Cannes, D&AD. Each stood for a different kind of excellence: craft, storytelling, innovation. They were basically cathedrals for ideas, and winning these awards wasn't just recognition, it was a pat on your back from the entire industry. Not because you created some poverty porn, because you made work that created impact. Today, everyone you see is award winning. Every agency, every founder, every creative director, and when everyone becomes exceptional, nobody really is. In the 90s, advertising went global. Holding companies went public, and awards, they discovered profit. And if you think that's harsh, let me tell you a story. A copywriter called Ton Mai got so frustrated with the situation that he decided to make every Cannes winning campaign available for free. His website was called lovetheworkmore.com. It's a cheeky jab at Cannes' own lovethework.com. And here's the funny part. The work that agencies paid thousands of dollars to enter, the work that supposedly represented the best creativity in the world, was still sitting behind a paywall. Ironic, isn't it? First they charge agencies to enter the work, and then they charge them back again to see the work. Ton Mai's video went viral. Not because people hated Cannes, but because deep down, everyone could feel that something had changed. Agencies had started building internal award teams. Budgets were carved out specifically for entries. Gradually, work stopped being made for audiences and started being made for juries. Scripts were written to impress 20 people in a dark room instead of 20 million people sitting at home. Think about how stupid that is. Advertising might be the only profession where we write things to impress our own kind. Imagine a restaurant where a chef creates dishes just to impress 20 other chefs and not to impress the customers he's serving. And then came the scam ads. The campaign nobody remembers but apparently changed a million lives. The formula is simple. Come up with a low-cost idea, find an NGO or a friendly client, run a tiny pilot that no one cares about or no one has even noticed, capture some photos, issue a press release, submit the case study, and win the trophy. Awards turned from outcome to objective, and that is when things started going wrong. By 2025, the illusion finally cracked. The same festivals that once crowned creativity became case studies in crisis management. At Cannes last year, Brazilian agency DM9 had its creative Grand Prix withdrawn after it was revealed that the agency used AI to fabricate a CNN Brazil news clip for Whirlpool's efficient way to pay campaign. The fallout was bad. The chief creative had to resign, and 2 other campaigns were pulled out for not meeting standards of legitimacy. It didn't stop there, by the way. In India, FCB's Lucky Yatra and Britannia's Nature Shapes Us were accused of being scam ads. Work made for juries but not for consumers. Le Pub Sao Paulo lost its Bronze Lions for New Balance after the brand publicly denied approving the campaign at all. Cannes had no choice but to respond. They had to launch an integrity council mandating client sign-offs, AI disclosure, and 3-year bans for those caught gaming the system. When a festival has to install an integrity council, the integrity is already lost. But the real blow wasn't ethical. It was existential. Because while juries debated moral lines, marketers were asking a simple question. Do these ads even work? At Cannes that same year, Mark Ritson presented research covering 1,200 campaigns worth 120 billion euros. And the result was that most award-winning campaigns failed to deliver actual business results. Ipsos testing showed the same pattern. Award-winning ads scored high on attention but barely moved purchase intent. Creatively awarded work had become no more effective than non-awarded campaigns. So we built a billion-dollar ecosystem that rewards the wrong kind of success. But hey, it's not just advertising. It's one of humanity's favorite mistakes. We confuse the scoreboard for the game. Valuations become more important than profits. Followers become more important than the talent. Grades become more important than learning. And eventually, awards become more important than advertising. For the first time in decades, the industry was forced to confront the uncomfortable truth that creativity had become performative. And the audience, the one we are supposed to move, had quietly left the room. But hey, this video isn't about creativity dying. It's actually a story about creativity evolving. Because while the award system was breaking down, something else was quietly being built. A new science of creative effectiveness. Nielsen's 2024 study found that creativity drives 47% of total sales impact, more than media targeting or even brand equity combined. Almost half of your ad success depends on how creative it is. The problem was never creativity, the problem was how we validated it. And the formula is simple. Emotion, fluency, time. Emotion creates memory, fluency ensures attribution, and time compounds into profit. Or as Mark Ritson says, make fewer ads, run them longer, and make more money. Platforms like System 1 now measure emotional response in real time using facial coding to predict long-term growth potential. Creative X gives brands a creative quality score tracking whether their assets meet proven effectiveness benchmarks or not. And Effies, which was once overshadowed by Cannes, are quietly becoming the awards that actually matter because they link ideas to business results. And this is where the shift fundamentally begins, from creative luck to creative literacy, from what wins to what works. Because the future of creativity isn't about abandoning art, it's about measuring its impact with precision. For the first time in decades, we are not guessing if an idea works, we are testing it, improving it, and proving it. Because when data serves creativity, not replaces it, that's when magic returns. Because great storytelling never died, we just stopped checking if it did. The world's biggest marketers aren't waiting for juries anymore. They are building systems that make creativity measurable. Nestle Indonesia used Creative X to lift its creative quality score from 30% to 92%, and their ROAS, return on ad spend, jumped 66%. Heineken analyzed hundreds of campaigns across markets and found that human faces, motion, and early branding drove 2/3 of ad effectiveness and improved brand lift by 50%. These aren't some random success stories, they are proof that creative excellence can be engineered. Because once you start measuring the right things, emotion, fluency, consistency, you can improve them over time. And that changes everything. No more endless debates about was the logo big enough, the data answers it in seconds. Turns out creative arguments end quickly when the evidence walks in. This is the new model of advertising. Less guesswork, more groundwork. Less superstitions, more systems. Brands that treat creativity like a science and give it due respect are seeing year-over-year lifts in performance and brand equity. Those that still treat it like a gamble are paying the price. So, will we stop seeing awards in the next few years? Well, awards will survive. They always do. But what's being rebuilt now is far more exciting. A world where creativity finally earns the respect it deserves. For the first time in decades, the industry is listening. Brands are learning to measure emotion, to test ideas, to invest in long-term creative platforms. I'm not sure how they're actually measuring emotion. I hope it's no longer that focus group nonsense we used to do, because focus groups are just insurance policy, right? Let's say if an ad doesn't perform, the CMO always gets to bail out saying, hey, the focus group liked it. But all my sarcasm aside, credit where it's due. Brands are finally trying to quantify creativity without killing it. And the best ones are proving that effectiveness and imagination don't compete, they compound. So if you are a creative, keep the madness but master the math. Keep the instinct but invite the evidence. Keep your art wild but try to make it work harder. Because when creativity proves its value, nobody will ever call it a nice to have again. If the work makes people feel, makes them remember, and makes them act, you've already won. And you don't need an award for that.